Joining us, a former ACT MP, former regional councillor, city councillor, lawyer, and community commentator is Hilary Calvert. She usually joins us on a Monday. She joins us now a bit later than normal. Welcome to the show, Hilary. Did you know it was International Children's Day last week, did you?
I did know it was International Children's Day. Hello, Michael.
I'm here.
Yes. And what I noticed was somebody writing a book and talking in libraries and things and saying that International Children's Day, particularly this year, I think, was about children's voices being heard. And she was delivering her message to preschoolers and saying that it's really important that children's voices be heard. I don't know whose voices you would hear from a 3-year-old, but that's got to be beyond ridiculously stupid.
And that was in a library, so it was in your library, was it?
It wasn't our library. It was on RNZ News or somewhere.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was an author.
Although there is, listen, I think there's a sort of a children's right movement, Hilary, that works on the basis that you should ask permission of non-verbal small infant children before you even do things like change their nappies, because you do not have consent to do so, and you are imposing yourselves upon them. Have you caught up with that?
Yeah, and it was bullshit when I first heard it, and it's not changed since.
Oh, I thought you might think that.
I owned, as you might recollect, a childcare centre back in the day. I didn't work in it, but we owned one that shifted, and we also owned an after-school centre. And I was asked by Teachers College at one point, because they were teaching early childhood people, to go and do a module on legal things. And it was all in the time when they had the odd men being preschool teachers, but not many. And they certainly had fewer after they suddenly decided that, probably as a result of the Christchurch crash thing, that men were dangerous in preschools and they might do bad things to children while they changed their nappies and things. And I remember going along to this legal module, and they said, how can I tell whether what I'm doing while I'm changing a child's nappies is wrong or not? And I said, well, you can tell, because if you're enjoying it, you're doing it wrong. But essentially, there wasn't any suggestion that you'd be asking the children about it.
No, it came from a psychologist, I think, or a psychiatrist, probably a psychologist who needed a psychiatrist, by the name of, what was her name, Dean Carson. And she went on one of the major American networks called ABC News, arguing that a policy of consent was required with the changing of nappies, and then associated that policy of consent with sexual assault. So essentially said, well, if you aren't asking the consent of your baby to change their nappies, you are in essence promoting approval of sexual assault upon children. Unsurprisingly,
except that asking their consent couldn't allow you to sexually assault a child anyway, even if you said, do you mind?
Well, I like the idea of asking my child, the idea of it. So I asked it 6 months old, can I change your nappy? Now, how am I meant to interpret a no?
Well, I don't know. I don't know whether a no is any different from a yes, really, because I don't think a yes gets you.
But they're non-verbal, so they're not going to say no or yes, are they, at 6 months old? So I'm just trying to work out, how do you work out how they're giving consent or not? I'm going to change your nappy. Is that okay? Apparently, this is what she said. You need to ask the baby's consent. I'm going to change your baby. Yes, is that all right with you? Now, you're dealing with a non-verbal infant. What do you do? How do you take yes or no from that? So
maybe if you tickle their tummies, you'll get them to be cheerful and suggest that they're positive about what you're doing.
I don't know. I don't know. But just more
Um,
madness.
I'm,
Hey, listen, you also want to talk
I'm
about
just
the
going to look at
tikanga
the
of
children's.
Parliament.
Yeah. It seems to me that if you're all into tikanga, which is sort of spread across the courts and all sorts of places at the moment, and the idea that you do have each, and it's acknowledged that each tribe has its own tikanga, or each iwi, or each area, and it's much the same as like at your place. I might arrive at your place, and the tikanga at your place is to take your shoes off when I come in. You know, so when I turn up at your place, I follow the customs of what you do. Here they are. Here, the Maori party, Te Pāti Māori, whatever, are in the House of Representatives, and that house has house rules, which amount to tikanga. To me, they're very definitely tikanga, and they're written down tikanga, but as it happens, they move about from time to time, and a speaker's in charge of them and things. So here you are in the house, and you know that you're not allowed to do what Te Pāti Māori did. So why would we think that it's all right for them to breach parliamentary tikanga in any circumstance? Doesn't matter how frustrated they are at what David Seymour might or might not be doing, but there's no way that they should accept that it's appropriate to breach tikanga in the House of Representatives. I don't like going on marae, in part because I might do something that isn't proper. You know, I don't know enough about what I should be doing to know that I'm respectful enough to know that when I go to somebody else's place, I do what they want me to do. That's respectful, and that's, call it respect, call it breach of tikanga, call it whatever it is. You want me to take off my shoes, I go on a marae and I'm expected to do some things, either listen to something first or not say anything because I'm a woman or whatever it is, but I never know quite what I should be doing. So it's not a place I feel comfortable because I don't want to be disrespectful. But the Maori Party in this case knew that what they were doing was a breach of tikanga.
Yes,
shouldn't be acceptable.
No, and the really interesting thing is you compare and contrast with how the House dealt with the out-of-control behaviour of Julianne Genter, the Green MP, and the consequences that flowed from her, including national humiliation. So the media piled in on her as well for breaching, as you say, the tikanga of the House and for acting in an intimidating and threatening way by just waving a particular document in front of a minister and saying, read this.
And she
a haka that's
acknowledged
aggressive
that
with eye rolling and tongue poking and things like that. That makes Julianne Genter look like some sort of convivial conversation by comparison, doesn't it?
Yes. But she acknowledged that what she did was wrong too. She didn't say it was in the heat of the moment and I'm entitled to be angry at you. Yeah. She said, I shouldn't have done it. I'm sorry, I did allow myself to do something I shouldn't have done.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's going to happen? Nothing or something?
Nothing, but it's good to be having the conversation about whether you think that because you're Maori, normal rules don't apply to you, and that Maori can determine tikanga when they feel like it, but that
well, is it Maori or is it Maori Party? I mean, because I'm pretty sure that Tama Potaka wouldn't act like that. I'm pretty sure that Karen Shaw wouldn't act like that. Is it just the Maori Party who are out of control? Yeah.
It is probably centering from the Maori Party, but it's a wee bit to me like what happens when people who believe in Islamic things do things that are unacceptable to other Islamists. And if they find it unacceptable, they should get up there and say, that is not what Islam teaches. We should not be doing that. I reject that.
Yes.
And so if it isn't acceptable to other Maori, they should be saying, it's not acceptable. They're wrong. And they should. And there's a lot of Maori in Parliament. You'd expect if the Maori who are in all the other parties thought that that was unacceptable, they could all be, and there's a lot of them, they're a bigger proportionate than what they are in the population. So you'd think at least a representative of the Labour Party Maori caucus, Willie, would be a good person.
No, Willie was up there doing the haka as well, remember? And so was one of the other Māori MPs as well.